off topic.
Yes.
I got excited. The soca got me excited.
Okay.
And this drink you made. What was in this drink again you made?
Grand Marnier, Macallan, Chubby Cream Soda, and Peach Mango Trader Joe's juice.
A lot of mercy.
Cheers.
So we were talking about relationships, and then we ended up talking about marriage. And I was having a conversation with some friends of mine last weekend about marriage. And it's funny because a lot of times, you know, what I had heard, I didn't hear this, I think, until after I got married, which I've been separated for about 5 years now. Unfortunately, but such is life.
Or fortunately.
Well, true. It's unfortunate because I never got into marriage to get divorced. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yes, fortunately, because there are certain situations that are just not healthy.
Right.
And you don't want to be in an unhealthy situation.
Exactly.
So, yes, fortunately and unfortunately, I guess. But, yeah, somebody was telling me at some point, I think I learned after that marriage is 98% work. But I like your spin on it because we were talking today and you were saying that, I'm just clumsy with the camera. I don't know what I'm doing. You were saying, which I thought was so good, that like if you enjoy or you're passionate about something, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. So I was saying that like in life we embark upon certain things, right? And you hear people talk about like their passion or their joy or whatever. And like just like a job or a career, I would say, or anything like as creatives, if you're a singer, if you're an artist or whatever the case may be, it doesn't feel like work when you're doing it. Yes, people are like, it might take time and it's like energy and things like that, and you're kind of putting a lot out, but it doesn't feel like job work because you're passionate about something. And I think the notion correlates to marriage as well. So if you're in a healthy relationship or a healthy marriage, the work that people talk about all the time, it's not so hard per se. It's the same concept where like you're doing all the things that like initially drew you to the person. You're doing all the things that when you first started out, you know, you were like cracking jokes or going on dates or just whatever it may be that you were doing early on because you want that person to like you. Let's be honest, right? You do these things because you want the person to like you. And then that kind of stops in marriage. People become comfortable. They're no longer, they're like, hey, I got it, I'm here. I don't need to do that anymore. And so I was saying like that's the actual work that I think you put in is just keeping the passion alive, right? The intimacy alive by engaging in some of the things that you were doing early on. And that is the premise of the quote unquote work.
Right. And you know, it's funny because when you think about like other things that people do, like if it's your job, you're going to constantly check to see if you're meeting the requirements of your job, if your supervisors are happy, if you're on target with your goals. And then if it's like in the house, you know, I like to clean. I like to keep a clean home.
Right.
So I can clean the bathroom spotless. Today, the bathroom could be spotless. And then within 1 week, the bathroom now requires maintenance. It requires another cleaning. You know what I mean? Just because you clean the bathroom one time and you have a bathroom, it doesn't maintain itself. You have to constantly do work to, you know, check on it and monitor it and make sure things are good.
Right.
But people think with the concept of marriage that you get married and it's just, that's it. The end all be all, the work ends, and somehow because you love somebody, everything's just supposed to magically work out. It don't work like that.
Yeah. Even with that, I think I was saying to you earlier about the romanticized notion of things that we're taught as children. You know, Prince Charming, and he will sweep you off your feet, and it will give you. And I'm not saying like, you know, that doesn't happen or cannot happen, but it's the same thing too. I think this like the realistic view of what goes on is not just like this slipper we placed on your foot and
nobody's gonna give me a black slipper.
Listen,
I've been waiting for that. My whole life.
Listen, there's a DSW around the corner.
Ah!
I got you anytime. You want a glass slipper? I got you covered.
But don't expect to take that down the aisle and live happily ever after.
Right. It's the happily ever after notion of, that I think that becomes a challenge, right? Of just like happily ever after. All right, we're not showing you anything else after that. We're not telling you anything else after that. We've reached this place and it's over. And you and I were also mentioning about like growing, right? That's a part of the work as well. Just to segue a little bit also, even like thinking that someone is gonna provide your happiness, like that you're married to someone and therefore your happiness will now be provided by that. Right, same thing.
By the person that gave you the glass slipper.
Right. I don't necessarily agree with that.
It's not happening. Happiness comes from self.
Yes.
From God. Different people find different things, but you have to have it within you. You cannot expect a person to give it to you.
Right.
Or make you happy, or never disappoint you, or meet all your needs.
Ooh.
Unrealistic expectations.
You just touched on a point too as well. The expectations, right? We all kind of have like a singular journey that we're on, right? So, you're walking your path, I'm walking my path. And I think a little bit of a challenge that comes in as well with relationships are people start to, like you said, they have these expectations where like, hey, you know what? I function this way. I do things this way. And you just automatically assume reciprocity. Like because my mind works this way, or because I move in this manner, this other person should be moving in this manner. That's kind of unrealistic as well. It's kind of unrealistic.
It's very unrealistic. It's very highly unrealistic. Because if you just take two people in relationships, like people are different. I have 3 sons. They're all completely different. They operate differently. They do things. There's some people. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So yeah, people are different, and in a relationship, you're going to be different. There's going to be differences, and like you said, because I operate this way, doesn't mean the person I'm with operates that way. Because my morning cleaning schedule is every Saturday at 6 a.m. doesn't mean I have to.
I'll be sleeping at that time, just so you know. Okay. Yeah.
Just you don't have to force your husband out of bed at 6 a.m. and tell him to clean. He can clean at 6 p.m. if that's the time he wants to clean. You know what I mean? Work it together, but it's not about us controlling and changing people and all kind of other foolishness that I've been guilty of at some points in my life.
We all guilty of it because not for nothing, that's what we're taught as children, right? I mean.
Right.
Because we see grown-ups do it, right? They constantly are, this person does this and I know, even if you see a marriage, it's maybe like, oh, I told you to blah, 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 your father never this, or, your mother never so-and-so, right? So you kind of learn that as a child.
Yeah, true.
I think, something else that we were talking about was like the barriers that we have. And being in a relationship with someone, and this is part of the growth, right? Where you take down the barriers when you're with that person. So if you're being your vulnerable self, you're being your true self with that individual, and then that's what's actually drawing them in. That's what they're attracted to. Then that same coming back full circle to that work. It's not hard work. It's not hard work because then you're taking down those barriers and you're just showing your truest self. And that's what the person was drawn to.
And there's freedom in that.
Freedom. Liberation.
Hey. Now, on the other hand, it's hard work when you have put up a mask, or you painted yourself as someone else.
Yes.
Or you've settled, you didn't know your worth.
Yes.
And then you find yourself in something that you really shouldn't be in. Now, that's some hard work. Now, that's work.
Hard work.
Woo. Unnecessary struggle.
Yeah. And
that's why it's important for us to be kind of clear, look at certain things to figure out who you want to connect yourself with.
Yes. Yes.
Which is hard.
It is. But that's part of life, right? Just because it may not go the way you wanted it to, that's a learning opportunity, right? So rather than feeling like just totally destroyed and then it's over and staying in that space, it's just like, all right, learning opportunity, right? So it's not, a lot of people refer to it as a failed marriage or a failure, but you're not a failure. I'm not a failure. The other person isn't a failure. It just didn't work. And then like, this doesn't work for me. Learning lesson. Moving on.
And now moving forward, how do we try not to make some of those mistakes again?
You posing a question?
No, I'm just saying in general.
In
general, when you're learning, like you're taking notes and you're like, okay, these are some lessons I learned.
Mm-hmm.
Now moving forward, maybe not to say let's not make some of these mistakes again, but what are some things I could do differently now to work on myself to even be ready for a marriage or to even be, a healthy participant in a relationship? Or what does a relationship mean to me? Like, ask yourself probing questions.
Yes.
So you can make improvement.
Yes.
Because we tend to always point the finger at the other person. But we also have to take responsibility and accountability and assess ourselves and how we want to grow moving forward.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, man. I always love our conversations.
I love them too.
You're so good to talk to.
Thank you.
And this drink you made.
Woo! Cheers to everyone out there.
Cheers to everybody. We just wanted to talk to y'all a little bit about relationships and marriage. We're both hopeful to be in a beautiful, successful marriage. And so we just be having conversations and stuff. We're just having conversations and we wanted to share our conversations with y'all.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
Ciao.
Thanks for joining me, Ishmael.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm looking forward to talking to you again soon where we can talk about some of both of us, have shared some of our issues from our childhood and things like that. And I'm looking forward to talking to you again in the near future.
Awesome.
Yay.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Bye. We party animals, aren't we?
Pretty much.